I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. We don't do a lot of jam bands. We just don't. Jam bands don't really translate really well, usually, to the album listen. However, there's a jam band that both Tom and I are big fans of, and that's Phish. They have a new album out. First one in, I think, like 5 years.
Quite a while.
Yeah, it was 2009, I think, that Phish's last record came out. We didn't review it. We weren't even a thing in 2009.
Yeah,
we did review some 2009 records, but we weren't really a thing.
Yeah.
We weren't exclusive yet.
We weren't going steady.
All right, we weren't.
Call it what you want. I don't like labels.
You know what I'm doing here? I'm really fishing. I'm really fishing for it, aren't I? All right.
Now you're just fishing for a good joke.
I don't have any. No. I don't have any. Anyways, Phish's new album is called Fuego. Fuego, which is also the first track on the album, and it's 9-minute, progressive rock, kind of with a southern rock jam band vibe, a Phish track. What do you know? And it's just this giant epic, and it's really a cool track. But before we dive into that, Tom, you're really, you're the guy who got me into Phish. You're the guy who's like, here, it's like a slew of Phish albums, enjoy. And I've listened to them for several years since. So tell me about Phish.
Well, Phish is a really cool band. They've been around for quite a while.
Yeah, like 1988.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think their first album came out about 25 years ago, Junta. Really good album. From there, my personal favorite is Picture of Nectar. Yeah. I think that's a great album.
In the 90s?
Yeah, that was early 90s one.
Farmhouse was really good. That was in 2000.
Farmhouse is great. That's probably up there for me in terms of favorite Phish albums as well. They are a little bit spotty, you know. I know that there's some super fans out there. And maybe you disagree with me. I don't think that anyone can truly say that everything they put out has been spectacular. But I think they're a band that has the longevity, the style, and just the enough high points in their career that they've really earned the status that they've achieved.
Yeah, I think so
and
too.
being kind of king of the jam bands. Trey Anastasio's kind of king of the hippies, I think.
Yeah.
The guy's just masterful.
Other than like the Grateful Dead.
Well, yeah, exactly. They're kind of the new, the new
the modern era.
Exactly.
Right.
So, but I mean, these guys are incredible instrumentalists, and what really gets me about them, and you mentioned that. People give us crap sometimes because we don't give jam bands a lot of love, and I think you nailed it, that just translates to the live experience much better. Albums, I think that some bands like that really struggle.
We both love jazz. We don't review a lot of jazz
Exactly, true. Because the whole reference point thing, guys, it's difficult.
It's a little tough.
Yeah, but with Phish, the thing that I've always loved about them is that while they have that jam band persona, they can write a tune.
Yeah.
They don't need it. They don't need extended jams just to do something memorable, just to do something cool. They don't rely purely on their instrumental talents. They can come off with some great melodies, and I find their stuff to be very memorable for that reason. I mentioned Picture of Nectar as being one of my favorite albums, and that album does a great job of varying track lengths, kind of moving from song to song. You have some cool little in-between tracks, you have some cool extended jams, and it just works. Now Fuego, kind of coming into this more modern era of Phish, is a little more focused. It's just 10 tracks. It's still a fairly long album. There are some longer tracks on here, and there are some more focused ones that stay to a little bit more of a pop structure.
And I think one important thing to note about Fuego is this was recorded in a studio. This isn't just a live recording or a recording of a live show or any sort of live essence about it. They actually went out and got an established rock producer who's worked on several big bands in the past, and his name is escaping me right now because we're doing this live. That's how we roll, Tom. But the band made an effort to make this a cohesive album, full recording studio experience, and it paid off because I think that a lot of the production value of the music that they recorded sounds really good. I mean, the piano sounds awesome, the guitars just sound full and bright and warm, and it really just it gives a good mood to these songs, and I think that the production just really helped accentuate what Phish has going for them in the songwriting.
I think one thing that really sticks out about Phish, though, you really tackle the instrumentals there, but the vocals.
Yes.
I mean, the vocals are so multi-layered, multi-dimensional. Harmonies. A lot of great harmonies, a lot of great group vocals, and that's something that's always been present in their music that I just feel like tends to be kind of lacking in a lot of other bands of this genre, is the presence of the vocals. And they really do a great job of that. They're varied, they're engaging, they're well produced.
They also have a quality about them that's really hard to put a finger on from a critical perspective, and I think that that's charm. I mean, these Phish have some of the most endearing vocals that I've ever heard, and I think that it's borderline Magoo how they write their vocal melodies and present them, and it's almost tacky, it's almost campy, but it doesn't actually cross that border ever. It just walks the line and stays really endearing. And I find that especially like on tracks like Fuego, The Line, even, you know, Waiting All Night, track 8, like I really find that those vocals are what sell the song to me, that make it even more engaging. Of course I'm gonna like the instrumentation. I'm into progressive music. I'm into solos and just full band compositions. But what actually sells the song is the great polish in the vocals.
I totally agree. It's something that keeps me coming back to this band, and I think that it's still a strength on Fuego, even more so than some of the albums they put out in the last decade or so, like Round Room. I wasn't a huge fan of that album. I feel like this album actually sounds a lot more polished, and the vocal writing is definitely something that comes along with that. It is very endearing. You can't help but love it, even when the lyrics are absolutely meaningless.
Yes.
Even when it's just nonsense.
When it's
you can't help but get
lyric.
behind. Yeah, you can't help but get behind it, right? So I think there's a lot of good to be said about this album. Now, still, as far as criticisms go, I mean, these guys, I don't feel like they're really reinventing their sound.
No.
For a band that's been around for a long time, it's just kind of nice to hear another Phish record, but still, while I felt like the highlights were very strong on this album, there were a few tracks that sounded a little redundant.
Yeah, The
that
Line,
didn't really
Devotion
stick
to
out.
a Dream, which are both really good tracks. I prefer Devotion to a Dream, as you obviously, and by your track picks here. But they're very similar songs.
Yeah, they really are. And there are a couple others on here, not necessarily that they were similar, but like Sing Monica, I didn't really feel like provided a whole lot of value. And Winter Queen is a nice kind of ballad, and it's short-lived. I think it's the shortest track on the album, and it's a good kind of mix-up in sound, but it's still not a stronger track.
And then there are a couple tracks in the back half of the album that do mix it up a bit more. Track 7, 555 is really kind of a funky track, you know, has a funky bass, some soul backing vocals, things like that, that just give it kind of an edge that the album needed at that point. There's a number of tracks in the middle of the record that did start to sound the same, as you were saying. Also Wombat, you know, a bit a cappella in the vocals there. That was kind of a cool change in sound. And then the album ends nicely with a 6-minute track called Wingsuit. I didn't really get into the whole, you know, the lyrical thing that they were going for there, and I didn't find the vocals that intriguing, but I think there was some really nice songwriting, and it's a good closer for the record.
Yeah.
I'm personally a little taken aback just from the sense that there is not a huge amount of originality, as you mentioned, within Phish's previous albums, but really, I feel like you could have pulled this record straight out of 1980. I mean, like, if this were recorded in 1980, and Tom handed me the LP, we put it on the record player in his home, which sounds amazing. And then we listened to it. I would not be surprised if you told me this was recorded in 1980. And what that tells me is that it's a throwback sound, but this is just what Phish do. They don't exactly reinvent the wheel ever. And that is one criticism that does hold me back from really liking this album a great deal or falling in love with it. It's a good record. I like putting it on. It's a solid listen, but I'm not ever going to go out of my way to listen to Fuego when I can go back and listen to, like Farmhouse or some of their older work. So that did kind of detract from me. Albeit, I love the title track. I also found this album pretty enjoyable. I'm going to go 72 on this.
I'm going 77.
You like this one a little bit more than me. You also picked more tracks than I did, I think, so good. That averages out to 75 from us, which is the mark of a pretty good record. It is a little bit below our average, although I say our average is a little... I think our average is shifting over time. I think it is. And I would still say that this is a good record, especially if you're a fan of the band Phish. This record is going to be, one that you're going to find enjoyable and probably fall in love with if you're a big fan of the band. If not, and you just want to go listen to a good jam record, this is one I would recommend to you guys. So it's not like I have all this negative hate towards Phish. I don't. I like Phish. Phish is good. What were your thoughts on Phish's Fuego? Let Tom and I know at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic, where you're probably watching this, let's be honest. Also, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Let Tom or I know what records you'd like to see us review on this channel, because we are all about what you guys want. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.